What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. Haven't been posting a lot because honestly this market just sucks. I don't enjoy looking at my portfolio and seeing it in the red and crashing everywhere and seeing how much money we're losing over the days. It just seems a little pointless. You can't day trade because everything's been falling unless you use inverse ETFs or something. All the stocks seem to be crashing lately, so day trading is difficult to do. Options are even more difficult because I have long-term leap options that are now going down because we've been depressed for so long in the market. So I don't see the point in options right now unless you're betting stocks go down, but that's always risky to do, so I don't like that. It's just a really, really terrible time in the market, for lack of better words. So I've just been doing other things with my time, and I do have a day job. So I've just been kind of sitting on the sidelines here. But I thought I would come back and make this video and kind of give people some sense of, it will get better. We're going through the darkest times. But so let's look. Today is Monday, the 5th of May, and it's around 2:30. The stock market has been bleeding today, as you can see from the charts. It's not just the SPY, it's everything. It's the NASDAQ, it's the Russell even. Usually the Russell kind of works a little bit differently. The VIX is spiking to, crazy levels here. We're almost back up to the highest it's ever been. It's up 12% at the time of this recording. So fear is all over. Even bigger companies are down, right? Amazon, people don't even want to touch Amazon. That's crashed. It's down 4.5% at the time of this. Apple is down 3% at the time of this, and we're reaching levels that we haven't seen since, March, or before that, November. So even big tech seems to be crashing. So you think, if the world's falling apart and all the monetary system's going down, you think, maybe Bitcoin's good. Well, you would be wrong. Bitcoin's dropped tremendously today. We're almost at $30,000 a Bitcoin, very overextended. It's down 9% at the time, almost 10% at the time of this recording. So Bitcoin's going down. The overall market's going down. Big tech is going down. Usually big tech has been saving us. That's falling apart too. So it all looks like doom and gloom, right? So there's a number of factors why, and there were some interesting things that I read this morning, that it is the S&P 500's coming off its 5th straight losing week. It's the longest streak in more than a decade, and this is partly because of the Fed basically deciding that they're not going to prop up the markets anymore, and they're going to make it harder for lending. So if they're not going to give out money as easily, then people don't have the money to invest, right? Big companies don't have as much to put into the market, and everyone starts to get scared, and they're pulling their money out, and no one's going to buy risky investments, right? So that's partially why Bitcoin and, Doge, if we look at it, Dogecoin's down too. And a lot of the more speculative stocks, like individual stocks, they're down as well, right? Let's look at like a Palantir. They're down. They also had earnings, so that plays into part of it. So just people are just overall risk off at this point. I think everyone's kind of lost interest in the market for now. And then there's also talks that China is starting to tighten their restrictions again. So people are saying that's going to affect the supply chains around the world. So it's really been bad news all over. But here's what I want to say. So here's a great analogy, right? And it depends on your style, obviously. Like I said, for me personally, I'm not day trading. I'm not even doing options at this point. The only thing that I'm doing with the accounts that I have that are set up in this way, so to speak, is buying tiny chunks of companies on the way down. So, taking small positions in Amazon. And being aware that it's going to continue to fall, right? There's a trend here. Since back here where we were kind of moving sideways, now we're in a downtrend. And that's with the whole market, right? This is, overall, we're in a downtrend. So what I see is buying small fractional shares of companies, taking little bits and pieces, less than 1% of your portfolio each day and buying on the way down. That way you're lowering your cost basis, your average cost for the stock. You're buying it as it's going down. And you realize that it's not going to stay down forever, right? And this is the part that I wanted to show you guys. So let's take Amazon for a quick example. And I didn't do this beforehand, so we'll see what it looks like. But this is on the 1-year chart, right? We're missing some of the good old days, right? So let's go back to a 5-year chart. So as you can see where we are right now, right? 2,185 or so per share. Let's look on the bright side. Where does this line up? When was the last time that we saw this price? Way back here, right? In April of 2020. And we all know what happened at that point, right? So let's just think logically here. Do you think that in the last 2 years, Amazon has made no progress? Well, let's think about this in a little bit different way, right? We saw prices in here in February 2020. So before things started to really crash, right? So do you think that in the last 2 years, Amazon hasn't made any progress? Do you think that the value of Amazon has not, been raised in the last 2 years? Maybe, maybe not. I personally think that it has, right? I think it's become a lot more valuable over the course of 2 years. Just think of all the warehouses that they've built and AWS and, there's a bunch of different things. But this is just taking Amazon as an example, right? So let's look at another stock that's been super beaten down, right? Let's just pick, and there's a couple different ones that we could choose, but let's go for a spec one, right? Let's look at Palantir. Over 5 years, look where it is right now, $7.38. Do you think Palantir is as valuable? Well, actually, this is a tough one. It came out as a SPAC at $10. We're below that SPAC price now, so maybe we don't want to use Palantir. This is PayPal, right? So let's look at PayPal. What is it right now? $79. When was the last time that we saw PayPal at $79? Maybe here in 2020, at the peak. At the bottom of the global pandemic, when stocks were selling off to a point where people were afraid that the world was going to fall apart. And look what happened, right? If you had bought it back here when the world was falling apart at $70, then look what it got up to, $300. And this is very clear that we shot up and we're all the way back down here. So I think that this is an overcorrection, right? There was a overreaction here because of the pandemic. And then there was another overreaction where people started to go crazy. Money got flooded into the system. Everyone's happy, blah, blah, blah. And now we're starting to pay for it. But the way that the stock market works is once it gets some momentum, the momentum continues, right? So we should have maybe stopped around here. Who's to say, right? But momentum continued to drive us down lower and lower to a point where we're at now, where we haven't seen this price since 2018 in PayPal. So the point in all this is basically, guys, just hold on. A great analogy is like when you were a little kid and you got fed something that you didn't like for lunch and you're starving. Like for me, it was spinach, like buttered, moist, wet, disgusting spinach, right? So what are you going to do? Are you going to eat it because you're starving? Or are you going to turn your nose up and go away hungry? I guess everyone has their choice, but I would eat it, right? Because you know that in the future you're going to benefit from it. So it may suck right now, but in the future you're better off. So keep eating your spinach, keep buying your stocks that you feel value in as it falls, and consider it, stocks on sale rather than losing money. Just make sure you diversify and you're picking stocks that you really believe in. But we can make another video on that in the future. hopefully this helps you guys. If it does, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.